Hello and welcome back. We're going to try and do the 5th war report now. Things are settling off, so these war reports might be a little bit less frequent. We might change the format a little bit to be a bit more specific about how fights are happening and things like that. The other person who does war reports for Goons, the other side, is basically saying the same thing. Everything's settling down. So to jump straight in, there's been no massive upheaval in the announcements from leadership. Both sides have said that the borders to the region of Innsmother, the Spire, Cache, they're kind of fixed holding now, and there's clear advantages for the defenders in that they can reinforce easier and bridging capital ships much easier en masse. So fights on either side of those regionals have typically gone to the defender, although both sides are still trying. On the larger fleet side of things, Goonswarm are sending more larger fleets in over the regionals that I'm aware of, suffering a little bit for it, and Horde are less keen to do that. There's been more of approach of lots of small groups going over the borders and harassment, basically. There has been an awful lot of SOV changes. We'll go over those in a second. You can see I've got the maps up behind, and we'll flick through a few of the areas. Generally with SOV, it's mostly been swaps, basically, between people who are allied or agreements. It's not actually been any much offensive play. There has been some troll intosising, so you might see in your alliances various reports of this system's being captured, things like that. That's usually someone who's just trying to ring the doorbell, get some attention. So the big areas of action have been the RXA EX1, I think it is, border between the Spire and Innsmother, and the GTEQ in Imperium Reach and EFM border in Innsmother. Most days, not every day, but most days have had a 10 billion plus fight between Horde and Goons. So the war is not cold. It's definitely there's still fights happening, and they're kind of jostling for position. It's just that nothing strategically significant has happened. That can change literally at any point, so it might heat up again, or it might just stay like this for a long time. This might be the new normal. Mostly move ups are completed for both sides. Looking at Zkill, there's not any of these crazy big move related deaths like big jump freighters or freighters or weird ships getting killed in weird places. And then the PvE activity started to settle out, so Horde has assigned kind of localized PvE near their staging, and they've reshuffled renters and allies and things like that. We'll go over it in the SOV updates. And Goons have put what they call the Beehive in place, which is their umbrella, so it'll bridge in Black Ops battleships, it'll bridge in capital ships, and also it links in with their subcap FCs, so they'll have flag catchers or happy fleets running around, or even if they need it bigger. So that's really in place at the moment. It's really, really active. They've had a long period of moving and resetting everything, so I think they're quite happy with that, and they're out nearly all the time during European time zone, a little bit into the American time zone, and they will bridge onto basically anything, it seems, at this point. They've lost a few shiny ships, they've lost some marshals and stuff because of that, because if you get too keen with these things and you don't think it through, then you can pick off the odd very expensive ship, and that's what groups have been trying to do. And they've got, I think, 2 marshals in the last kind of 2 weeks, which is a personal player item, really. It's not really an alliance item, so it doesn't really make any impact if someone loses a marshal, because they typically will just buy another one because they're typically very rich. And I've got here that some Black Ops activity from Goons versus specifically Dreadnought Crabbers, it seems. Basically, Goons are setting up big whaling sigs where they can just jump across the regional and then bridge straight onto Crabbers, and you're seeing a lot of them killing the large bubbles that are on the regionals, because if you're in a bubble you can't jump, and you have to kind of get out of the bubble first and things like that, and generally whaling fleets are not very agile like that, so they'll use normal fleets to keep the bubbles down as much as they can, and then every so often they jump through with 100 bombers or something like that and kill a dreadnought very quickly before any response can happen. And that's kind of a little bit of activity. So let's have a look at the SOV. So this first bit is the cache, or cache, and on the left here we can see where it's up to now. I actually got this the wrong way around. I changed it around thinking I got it wrong, but I had it right. So this is where it used to be like. So it used to be lots of NC on the last war report, with a little bit of encroachment from Goons and FNT, and X3 who are kind of almost neutral, I think, up here. They're not really doing anything. And then now it's Goons have got this little pocket into Insmother, so they've solidified that, and FNT, who are an ally of Goons, have got all this middle bit, and then this little bit right on the border is proven stubborn. You can bridge really easily around here, and you can get involved from the spire and come in. So that's proving a little bit more tricky to take over, it seems. Let's flick through. So the next one is Detorid. So let's find Detorid. I've got loads of stuff saved here. Detorid. So Detorid has completely changed hands. It's gone XIX, Siege Green, and Slags have basically traded it. I don't know the specifics of the deal, but it's been given to Goonswarm, and now you can see it's fully Goonswarm there. Esoteria, internal imperium changes, so this has been swapped from FNT over here. These guys have actually taken a bit more of Ferra's space, MMNs, and then Sigma's given up their space to IGC and Dracarys again. Dracarys who kind of getting pushed out of the Valve-Quarius area, so they needed somewhere to live. This is Ethereum Reach. There's not a ton of changes. Looks like it was very similar. I think they just changed the soft as we did this update last time, but now these systems are kind of decked out with all their upgrades and can be used properly. Next one on the list is Esoteria. Have I got immensea? Oh, I've got immensea as well. A little bit of change in immensea. Oh, they're given Vapor a little bit of space up there in the corner. Some more just ally stuff. Impass, Brave has got some space. FNT's got some weird systems. I don't really know why they've given FNT these 4 systems, but there must be a reason. Brave has only got 6 systems, which I'll be honest with you is probably appropriate for Brave. They have a little bit of space elsewhere, like I think in Curse. They definitely got set up in. They have set up in Canid as well. We've got like a whole high sec set up in Canid. Then this is Insmother. Not really any changes in Insmother. They've swapped Lawn into that bottom bit. There has been today, the last few days, there's now jump bridges. There's one that goes from EFM to CJ. I think there's some other ones. We can have a quick look on the Eve map. Actually, we won't do that. We won't be looking at the Eve map. Malpace, no changes. Where's next? Owasa, no changes. Omist, Outer Passage. Got something written down for Outer Passage. Outer Passage is the internal Panfam changes. So this was all Horde, and now it is a mixture. So this bottom half was like rented space, I'm pretty sure. So that's gone to Mohist, X3, Stella Raconteurs, and stkn. And stkn is a holding corp for, I think, Vapor, but I'm not sure. So it's like the stkn name is not how you're going to see flying around. They're just like the holding corp for it. This is really good for Horde because this was kind of a low activity area. There was lots of people doing stuff here, but they weren't organised. And now you've got proper dedicated organised groups who can communicate with each other and defend, and they have been doing so much better than the Renters did. And then this area is being pushed by a group called Insidious. I don't think they're related to Goons, so it's not really relevant to the war report, but it's just saying how the changes work. So Insidious have been able to form large enough fleets to overwhelm these groups, and then Horde will come in and help them. It's typically how it's gone. Some of the fights gone one way, some of the fights gone the other way, as per things, like as the game goes. Then we've got Paragon Soul was full Sigma, and then that's changed to basically full Dracarys. A few systems have still got to switch over. So really, look at that for a defensive line. You can just roll all the wormholes, put a camp here, and that's pretty safe. Period basis is fine. Wicked Creek's the next one I've got. What happened in Wicked Creek? No, that's not Wicked Creek. Wicked Creek was, it was a big mixture again, so it's like all of the coalition guys from Big Ab and all them, and then that's completely gone over to Goons. So that's all of the changes. In the video description, I'm going to put down some battle reports. You can just scroll through them. They're the ones I've found. I'm sure there's other ones. In particular, it's missing a few of the ones where Horde's gone through the regional, because typically the Horde Strat FCs don't post the after action reports if it's like a complete wipe or something like that. Morale, I assume. Or they maybe just personally don't feel good about it, so they don't want to shout out about it. There's a multitude of reasons. I personally like to post my battle reports regardless, but I can understand why some people might not want to. It does make it hard to make the news reports like this though. Some of these are losses for Horde. We had a big loss today, which was Fox Resistance is like a member corp in Horde, quite a big one, Chinese speaking, and they decided to anchor some Astra houses in cache, and Goons responded, and Fox Resistance decided to take the fight before main Horde arrived, so they in about 10 minutes lost their battleship fleet, which is quite an expensive loss. So that worked out to, I think, 50 or 60 bill, and then Horde came in. We were out of our stronger time zone, so we were outnumbered. So we managed to get some kills involved, get a bit of a fight going, and then as it started to push towards Goons being kind of dominant, withdrew. So if you look at the battle report, it's kind of, there's a clear timeline where there's not really main Horde involved, and then Horde's involved, and it's kind of evens out a little bit for a little bit, and then Horde starts clearing tackle, and then they leave. So that was one from today. Let me know in the comments if you want particular things from the battle reports. People have been saying that they like the pure factual, kind of no bias side of it. Which I like. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to not really make them clickbaity. They might be a bit boring because of that. There's not really going to be me getting super excited or anything like that, or claiming random, things, or trying to put thoughts into other, words into other people's mouths of how they're thinking about the game and what they're doing. I'll just literally be like, they said this in the announcements. These fights happened. This was the changes. That's for the war reports. We can do other content as well on the channel, but for me personally, it takes me quite a while to get this kind of stuff ready. Not particularly efficient at making videos, so it would have to be something good for me to sit down and make it. But I'm up to taking on board feedback, so please do give me feedback. I do like it. I do like all the comments, even the comments where people are saying, no, you're completely wrong about this, or this was a bit boring, or this sound was really bad, or anything like that. It's really nice. It's really useful. It shows that people are actually watching it and engaging it, and I can try and change it for the future and improve it for you guys, make them more entertaining. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. See you out there in space. I'll be out there feeding very cheap ships and just being annoying and trying to have fun and do things that I think are interesting, and I'm sure you will be doing the same. Have a good one.